What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today this will be an extension of the last X-Max video. And in that video, it was originally actually supposed to be a video of me driving the X-Max in the woods, and Max was going to get some like third-person shots of the X-Max, and it was going to be a cool video. Well, this was literally the only other time I've drove the X-Max before that was literally the night that I got it. That was it. That's the only time that car has been driven by me, and I think that might be one of the only times, period, it's been driven. Anyhow, so I go to take it out the next morning, press the throttle, bzz, 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 bzz. I'm like thinking at first, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, was it a gear or something? So I cut clips, start on what happened, and I explain what happened with the RC car, and then that's when I eventually go to my mom's house and I get it fixed, and I'm able to make a whole entire video off of it. But basically, this starts when I did the intro of the last X-Max video, which aka was my first ever X-Max video. So I'll pick up there when I went to go drive, and then it failed, and then I'll just pretty much just take you guys through my journey. I wanted to get that video of the X-Max up first, where I actually was driving it, because I figured that was a better way to introduce it rather than making a whole entire video on how I bought the thing, and then now it's not working, and I'm clueless on how to get it working, which I knew how to get it working at the time, but a lot of things I was doing, guys, was just, there was just minor slip-ups that dragged this on to be a lot longer of a thing than it should have been. So this whole entire video, I guess, it's just going to be me making a laughing stock of myself, I guess, because I kind of drawed it out to be a longer thing than what it should have been, but that's my fault. But anyways, guys, we'll cut the chit chat. Let's get into the video. So guys, what we got right here is we got the Spectrum DX5C. Like I said, this radio can seriously hook up to 20 RC cars. I'm dead serious. This is like, from my understanding, this is like what a lot of people run. They run a controller that can hook up to a ton of RC cars. So yeah, it was a little bit of a pain. The hobby shop actually did it for me, but pretty much turn it on. You get that on screen. So pretty much it has all kinds of, and Max, this is actually your first time seeing it too. So take a look, Max, literally. There's the menu. You can literally go through. You have all kinds of things. Is it on camera? Is this showing up good on camera?
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, so you got all these options you can choose from in the menu. There's all sorts of buttons here for your steering and stuff. And it's such a nice controller, seriously. I mean, this thing's awesome. It's got even the battery on the controller, I believe, too. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit of adjustion to get used to these types of things. I'm starting to power on the X-Max. Starting to rain a little bit, so me and Max are a little bit in a rush, but we're gonna get a little recording done today, guys, trust me. And the guy told me, he actually told me, nothing runs like an X-Max in the snow. Nothing's like an X-Max in the snow, pretty much. And the nice feature about the controller is you don't just press the power button, because what if you accidentally bump it while driving? Well, you actually have to hold the power button to actually turn off the controller. So that's a very nice feature. He pointed that out to me, so when I went to turn it off, I just clicked it. He goes, oh, no. You have to hold it because they made that feature so in case you accidentally bump it, it doesn't turn off the RC car. I mean, without further ado, high torque servo. Low glitch in the system. Unplug the battery. Plug it back in. That was a little odd, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this back on. I'm not a big fan of that. Are you flipping serious? Is that the differential? Wait a minute. I think that's the diff, Max.
Oh gosh.
Oh no. I dumped too much money into this RC car, Max. You know what? I wonder if I go into the settings. Because I was messing with it last night. I wonder if I fricked it up somehow. Let me get to speed. Yeah, looking back on this video, I kind of look like an idiot now that I've like learned a lot more about the X-Max. I was just doing anything I could because I just didn't wrap my brain around the fact of the pinion gear fell off, because that's a common problem with the X-Maxes. Now remember, I'm an Arma boy, so I'm used to things actually working when you buy it.
Yeah, that ain't good. We didn't even run it though. Yeah, see how it's rolling? It's stripped. We didn't even run it. But we ran it last night though. Here's the thing, we ran it last night and it ran perfectly fine. So, what happened within that time frame?
Let's see.
Nothing. It sat on the floor.
Slightly jumped it and
No, within that time frame of driving it, because it drove perfectly fine last night. Why is it not driving fine? Well, it's picking up raining now, so we're done.
Dang it.
Man, I wanted to get in a video today. Yep, and it's and the gear's stripped, as you can tell, because look. You know what? Camera. Frick you, Traxxas. Frick off. If the gear's actually stripped, frick you. Freaking frick off, frickers. What do we say, Max? You said I'm breaking it. Guess what? It's freaking broke, and I didn't even get to drive the mother fricker. Rant. Frick off, Traxxas. Bro, I'm actually kind of salty, though. Like, how did it strip? I didn't even drive it.
I don't know.
Man, that sucks. I ain't gonna drive it anymore because it's stripped. Well, Max, you take L's in life.
Yep.
This is one of them. Man, that really salts me. That really makes me salty because I had a whole video plan. I had all batteries charged and everything. Man. Where's my screw? Well, I accidentally dropped a screw in there, guys. But, if you can see, here's the problem. Long story short, my dad was watching a YouTube video, the pinion gear falls off, literally. So that's kind of annoying. I actually thought a gear was stripped, but this has metal gearing, so we're good. Alright, now it's just a matter of getting the pinion gear back on, which I think you have to do this like a certain way. I could be wrong. Everything's a certain way. Okay. X-Maxes are very complicated to work on. Now it's just a matter of getting it back on, and it won't go back on. Well, because there's a screw here. Well, wait a second. Guys, I'm new to working on X-Maxes. Don't... There's been Loctite thrown on that. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, that ain't... I'm shaking. My hands can't do this. I'm not like mad right now, guys. Like, I've actually remained pretty calm. Let's flash back to where I was going. Mother fricker, frick. Okay. Someone threw Loctite on that screw, which I don't got Loctite on me right now. I just want to film the video, right?
Yep.
I lost one of my screws, dead serious.
Oh gosh.
Now, guys, I really fricked up. If you see this part right here, that was supposed to be right here because there's a flat part on the shaft of the motor, because there's a shaft that sticks out and the pinion goes onto that shaft. Now, that part that I just pointed to, this part, was supposed to go here because that screws in right there on the flat part of the motor shaft. And that flat part is at the top there. So it's supposed to screw down onto the flat part of the motor shaft, not the round part. I was an idiot. I screwed up here. So this is not Traxxas' fault. So from now on, in this part of the video, from just now moving forward, it is completely basically my fault at this point. And this dragged on to like a 2-3 day fiasco, so just keep watching. I have it.
Nice.
Awesome. So, okay, so I'm gonna throw this on top of this. I'm glad my dad watched that video because I was actually dead serious gonna take it to the hobby shop, and I would have been kind of mad if they would have told me, oh no, it's just stripped, or no, it's just, oh no, it just fell off. Flashlight. X-Maxes, guys, are not that easy to work on. Anyhow, we can go back to ripping. I really hope it don't fall off. Because I was like, shoot. It's stripped. So I was thinking it was the gear that it rubs off of. The pinion gear. Because I'm like, the pinion gear ain't stripped. So I was like, oh no, it's the gear that it rubs off of. And I was like, well, I'm not sure. Because, you know, it wouldn't be a diff. Because if it was a diff, the one side would get driven, the other side wouldn't. So that was the fix, guys. I just wanted to let you know what the problem was. So in case you ever have that problem with your brand new X-Max, don't be like me and you can bring it inside, obviously. But I was going to say, don't be like me and bring it inside. But honestly, guys, take a look at it before you do take it into the hobby shop. Because they're just going to be like, no, stupid idiot. All right, let's get back to ripping.
I went to go rip it, guys. And sadly, it fell off. But this is my own fault because I didn't screw it into the right spot. It wasn't on the flat part of the motor shaft. It was on the round part of the motor shaft. And, like, at this point, guys, like, I was just really ticked off. And I actually ended up going to my mom's house since that was the day that I switched. So I wanted to get this done in the morning, obviously, so I could be with Max so we could go film a video of me ripping in the woods. But that wasn't possible. But that did not stop my determination to fix this X-Max. So did some research. I believe I actually called the hobby shop, and they told me about putting Loctite and let it sit for a night. Now, here's my problem, right? I put Loctite on, I screw it down. It actually started working for a couple seconds, but I only let it sit for like 2-3 hours, okay? The hobby shop told me to let it sit for a night, so this is not their fault. This is just me being super impatient, because again, I was super anxious to drive this thing. All right, so we got the X-Max down there. Long story short, the screw that goes into the pinion gear, you know, that attaches on to the shaft coming out the motor. I basically put Loctite over that screw, and right now it seems to be working, so let me test it out. I've only let the Loctite sit for like an hour and a half maybe, if even. That was almost full throttle. Wow, okay, maybe this is a fix. Ooh, almost nosedived. It's up there. Wow, has full drive. Woohoo! Alright guys, so day 3 of owning this RC car. I've barely gotten to drive it. Okay, so here's what I don't understand, alright? Here's the whole entire backstory. So I went up, picked this RC car. The guy didn't lie. Brand spanking new, nice RC car, right? Charged it up, drove it that night that I got it, driving perfectly fine, just no signs of no nothing, driving perfectly fine. The next morning, when I wanted to go film my video, right, I take it out, I'm about to go run it. All of a sudden, it sounds like to me, oh, it went through a gear. Oh shoot, that sucks. But then I was like, okay, well that doesn't make sense. How did it go through a gear if I didn't even drive it within that period? So I didn't understand. So my dad looked into it, and then he found out about the whole entire pinion gear falling off. I'm like, oh shoot, I have heard of that before. So, take it apart, put the pinion gear back on, right? Right when I put it back on, go to drive it again, falls right back off. Literally right back off. Like, I didn't even get it out the door, it fell right back off. So, I didn't even get to drive it then either. So, I call the hobby shop, they tell me, on the screw, because there's a screw actually right up here. There's a screw right here that goes down onto, oh dang it, well I moved it on accident, my bad. It goes down into the, it just screws on and goes right up against the shaft. And that screw apparently keeps coming loose. When I called the hobby shop, they told me to put some Loctite on that screw. Here's the problem. I've heard people tell me that Loctite can sometimes melt. Like, I watch it on, I've seen people talking about that on YouTube. And people said that can actually, like, melt, apparently, the Loctite, since it gets so warm right there, since obviously it's the motor right where the gear's at. But the guy at the hobby shop, I brought that up to him. He told me that that's not a problem for him. You know, it's worked perfectly fine for him. So I'm like, okay, awesome, right? Put the Loctite on, I get the Loctite, put it on the screw, I screw it back down on. I let it dry, and here's where my mistake came in. Here's where my fault came in. You know, I put it back on, screw it back on, and I was getting very anxious to drive this thing, right? So about an hour and a half of waiting for it to dry, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna rip it just a little bit, right? That's when I went out and I filmed it for you guys. I took it on the hill, blah, 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 going up and down. I'm like, oh my God, this fixed it. This fixed it. I even went like almost full throttle at some points. And then all of a sudden, boom, came off. That's my fault, right? So I'm like, okay, well, now that I know that's gonna work, I'm actually gonna fully do it and wait the time. I put the Loctite on the screw it down in again, go to wait. I just go check out the RC car, and when I go to roll it, when you go to roll it, guys, since there's 2 gears there should be a little bit of resistance when rolling it. Right now, yes, there is resistance. But when I went to go check it out after I screwed it back on for a second time, I realized there was absolutely 0 resistance. I'm like, okay, like it was just like freely rolling. Exactly how it was when the pinion fell off. I'm like, oh shoot, that ain't good. So I then hook it up to the remote, turn it on, everything, hook it up to the remote, and I'm good to go, right? I go to press the gas just to test if it would move, right? Well, I press the gas. I press the throttle, sorry, not gas, because this is electric. I press the throttle, and it goes, zzz, 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 and it doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, uh-oh, I fricked up. I should have just waited in the first place with the Loctite like the guy at the hobby shop told me to. Well, apparently, I looked at it, right? The motor shaft was just spinning, and the pinion gear was not spinning. So like something was stripped out. So I take it off, I take a look at it. I noticed that the screw that is on this pinion gear that goes down to the shaft, I noticed that keeps getting flattened out. So comment down below if you guys know that issue. Seriously, it just kept getting flattened out. So then there was absolutely like nothing really like keeping it onto the shaft. So it was literally just spinning. So the screw there got rounded out. It got rounded off on the bottom. I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. I honestly don't know what to do. I checked the shaft. Shaft is not like bent or anything. It's in perfect condition. So it just kept getting rounded off. I am assuming that was from me driving it. And when it did actually fall off, I'm assuming it actually ended up rounding off, like it rounded the screw off on the bottom, and like it's kind of hard to explain, but I think it rounded it to the curve of the shaft when when it fell off and it was just spinning. So I'm assuming it did that when the screw kept getting loosened.
All right, I'm just going to interject there. This isn't very, like, embarrassing to show on the internet. Like, this is, like, some big, like, fairy tale, like, fable bull crap I'm, like, talking about now. Since I screwed it down onto obviously the motor shaft, not the flat part of the motor shaft, basically the screw wasn't getting any grip, and I couldn't, like, properly, like, screw it down onto it. So it couldn't get, like, any proper grip on the shaft. And plus, when I actually did end up fixing it and screwing it down properly, I found that screw on that pinion had a lot of resistance, like, to screw down. It was, like, hard to screw down on. Now, granted, I don't have, like, proper tools for this, which eventually I do plan on getting some. I was just using, like, a stupid little Allen wrench. I know, blah, 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 stupid little Allen wrench. And, every time we went to screw it down, it was very resistant. So it's either I didn't screw it down hard enough, or since I didn't screw it down onto the flat part, the motor shaft was just spinning and the pinion gear was just staying there, and it was just moving inside the pinion gear. It's either I didn't screw it down hard enough, or it's because I didn't screw it down in the right spot. So just basically ignore what I'm saying.
I'm assuming that's when that happened. So at that point, I was like, shoot. Well, it's all in or nothing, right? So what I did was I'm not proud of it, guys. I already know it's not something you should do. I put Loctite on the pinion, on the actual shaft, and I threw it on. So I literally Loctited the gear on. Now, I got blue Loctite. It's not permanent, so there are ways to get it off in case I ever do need to get it off.
It just keeps getting worse, guys. I mean, like, at this point, guys, I actually think I was starting to, like, lose brain cells and become, like, more stupider. Like, I couldn't sleep at night. I was just, like, beginning just to to become a conspiracy theories at you guys about this crap, like, rather than just doing it properly. So I get so freaking desperate. So desperate, like, and at this point, like, I'm not even thinking straight. Like, I've now calmed down. I'm thinking straight. I fixed my X-Max at this point while I'm doing the voiceover, and it's just like I'm in the right brain now. But then I was just like, I had no clue what I was thinking. So I was thinking, oh, you can Loctite the pinion gear to the shaft. If you don't know what Loctite is, guys, it's a liquid. You squeeze it out onto screws. You screw it down into the threads, and it forms into a plastic, and it keeps them threads locked into place so it never, like, vibrates loose or anything. It's not a super glue. I was trying to use it as a super glue, okay? Here's the difference. With threads, it actually has something to, like, lock into, and it's now locked down into place. With this, it's not an adhesive, so it's not going to, like, glue the shaft and the pinion together like I was thinking. I was seriously not thinking straight. I genuinely was, so convinced in my brain that I was able to just, with Loctite, that's just going to glue it together. Now, with super glue, that could potentially work. But with this, it's not an adhesive, it's plastic. So literally, all I'm doing is trying to Loctite the pinion to the shaft, literally just wasting Loctite, putting it there, and then it's not going to bond them two together. It's just going to make a plastic layer, and that's just going to be it. It's not going to bond them together. So it's meant for screws, meant to go inside of threads. It's not meant for that. So again, just continue to ignore what I'm saying. This is not a tutorial by any means.
But I was out of options, and I didn't want this to keep happening to me. So what I decided to do was just Loctite it on. I figured, if this doesn't work, then if it is true that when it gets so hot that the Loctite actually melts, then it should just slide right off. So if it does end up melting, it should just slide right off, and I'll just be able to clean it right up. So it should not be an issue. The guy at the hobby shop, he told me, do not Loctite the shaft, just because it'll add a thick layer of Loctite, obviously, on the shaft. So if you ever go to put on another pinion gear, it'll make the shaft is going to be, like, thicker than what it should be, because the Loctite forms a plastic layer. But I'm assuming you'd be able to somehow, some way melt that off. So it's either this works or it melts off and it's an easy clean. It cleans right up, and I just get a new, I would assume I'd just be able to get a new pinion gear with a screw, but at the time I'm just too lazy to do that, guys, because I honestly think it's a screw that I think it got rounded off so this popped off. And I think when it popped off and came loose, I think the screw started getting rounded, because I think the shaft was just spinning and just rounding off that screw down there. So I honestly had no clue what to do. I even tried tightening the screw the whole way. So I don't even know if that makes no, I think that does make my theory, because it was curved. So the screw at the bottom should just be flat. Well, it was curved like this to the shaft, very hard to explain. And it just, even if I tried screwing it down, it wouldn't keep to the shaft. Would not keep to the shaft. So I Loctite it on. I'm assuming there's obviously a way to get it off if I ever need to, but hopefully that's not anytime in the near future. I'm really banking on the fact this works. We're coming up close to 24 hours. We're probably right now at like 19 hours of letting the Loctite dry, because I did it at 5 p.m. yesterday. Right now it is about 12 in the afternoon. It's noon. So yeah, so I got my lipos here. This is the issue. So I was under the impression that the RC car would work. So I then, this would be, yesterday, I charged these lipos up to full charge. Now, guys, if you know anything about RC cars, you are not supposed to be doing that. You should charge them up to full charge and drive them. Drain them out, and then, if you're not going to use them within the next 3 days, throw them into a storage charge. These become very dangerous if you leave them at full charge for 3 days. They can actually puff up and explode. So that's why I'm banking on the fact that I hope this really works, so I can drain, because I got 2 sets of batteries that need drained, so I can drain those, throw them into a storage charge, and everything will be safe and sound. I really hope this Loctite will work. If it does work, I think it'll work for if it's gonna end up melting, it's gonna probably melt within like 20 minutes when it does start warming up. So I will still be able to drive it a little bit and drain these lipos. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna give it a test shot here in maybe like an hour or two, maybe, potentially. And I am actually at my mom's house currently. I do have a spot to drive, actually a very cool spot with a lot of hill climbs, so I'm really hoping this could work, because I'm super anxious to drive this thing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was so fun the night that I did end up driving it.
But yeah, so right now I just need to throw that cover back on, but I'm not gonna throw the cover on if it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna do a little test drive in the back where the hill's at, and just to see if it works. And then if it works, I'm gonna throw the cover back on. See, these two lipos, these are actually the two used lipos the guy sold me. He sold me these $50 a piece. Very good deal, actually. I even asked him, I'm like, were they properly taken care of, thrown into a storage charge? He said yes. Only thing wrong with this one is it has a little dent, but it's not really affecting it at all. But yeah, they're overall in like incredible condition. Just a little bit scratched. I was also amazed by, if you compare the Arma Typhon 6S, if you compare their Spectrum 6S battery to Traxxas's 4S, for some reason the 4S battery is just bigger. I have no clue why. It's just way bigger. But anyways, guys, I'm so excited to rip. I want to drain both these batteries today and have a good time. So without further ado, I guess let's get into it. Let's see if it works. This is probably the angriest I've ever been on camera. What a freaking joke. Man. I mean, I'm freaking speechless. It's a lot of money to not be able to drive something. Yeah, I'm utterly disappointed in Traxxas. I don't even think I'm gonna try to Loctite it. All right, there's enough Loctite in there now. I'm gonna give it till tonight. Maybe like 4, so 3 hours of drying time. See what it does. That's all I can really do. All right. Attempt, I don't know, 3, 4, something. It ain't good when you're losing attempt counts. Pretty sure I let it dry for like 2.5 hours. I'm running out of daylight, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't think it's gonna work, guys. Oh, this is normal. It'll act like it's working. Okay, all the way up the hill. Yep, fell off. Oh, imagine that, guys. Another fail. Yo. The pinion's still on. There's just a little bit of wiggle room. Huh? Okay, wait a second. Okay, I'm making a hypothesis here, right? So, if I put stuff on the end of this rod to stop it, right? Like I tie rubber bands around the end of the rod, the pinion gear wouldn't be able to come off. Let's think about this. Should I do this? Probably not. Will I do it? Yes. I just don't know if these rubber bands are so big, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to go around that. That's like really, really on there. I don't know how it's coming off. Oh, I know the problem. See? Ow.
Ooh, that hurt. Not just spun on my finger, but it's just the thing just spinning. The gear's staying on, but the thing's just spinning inside. That's a fail. Okay. After like 72 hours, I have it down to a T. After risking my finger, I have it to a T. I know what I need to do. I know what needs to be done. Come with me, guys. Take a look here. So, I'm not familiar with Traxxas. They always said, I keep watching videos say, oh, make sure you screw, you know, this gear, or you make sure you screw it on the flat side of, obviously, this thing, right? Problem is I'm an idiot, and you guys are probably laughing. Everyone that knows about Traxxas. So, long story short, I've been putting it on this way, right? And you guys have watched me put it on that way. Even me and Max said it doesn't look right that way. Long story short, the screw, there's a flat knob. You guys probably can't even tell it's flat right here. So this is circular, but right here is just specifically right here is flat. Yeah, right there's flat. That flat part is supposed to, where the screw's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go on the round part. So no wonder why this screw got rounded out. Oh my god. That really annoys me. So it goes on like this, look. If I can get it on with all the Loctite I freaking put on. 1 second. Okay, it's getting there. There, see? Mother freaking. Let me get it on real quick. There you guys go, I fixed it. Now I fricked up that screw, and now what I need to do with the screw is I literally had the gear on the wrong way. That little small part right here, that's supposed to be facing out this way. Now, I don't know if it's gonna fall off anymore now that I actually put it on the proper way, but that screw got freaking rounded off. So I'm gonna have to find a new one of those screws. I don't know what I should do right now, because it looks like, okay, yeah, it looks like it's just gonna pop right back off. See, yeah, it's just gonna pop right back off. So, do I try to actually like Loctite that? Yeah, I think I might try. I mean, I don't know. I don't freaking know anymore, guys. I'm kind of mad.
So at this point, guys, I literally thought that my screw that was Loctited onto the shaft that I screwed down through the pinion gear, I thought that that screw was actually stripping, and I thought that I couldn't get it out because of how much Loctite I put, when in all actuality, the Allen wrench was actually stripped out. So every time I'd put the Allen wrench in and turn it, it would just be turning inside of the screw, making it seem like the screw is like stripping and just stripping out. So I'm like, well, I don't want to strip the screw anymore. And I just randomly decided, you know what? I'm going to try it the other way with the Allen wrench. I try it the other way, and boom, it starts working. Now, this was after the fact. I got a new pinion gear for this thing because I thought this one was all stripped out. So I got a new pinion gear, and that one, the screw was like stripping right off the gate. So I'm like, there's no way this screw is stripped right off the gate. It's not stripped. I can see it's not stripped. So I tried the other way with the Allen wrench, since, you know, your typical crappy Allen wrench has two sides to it. And I tried the other side, you know, the side that no one really, I was using the long side this whole time that was stripped out. The Allen wrench, it's going to sound weird, but it's typically like the Allen wrench, it's like a square type thing, okay? So an Allen wrench is like a square. Well, it was starting to round off to make the end of the Allen wrench a circle. I have no clue why the Allen wrench was like that. I have no clue. So clearly someone was stripping a screw with it, and it started like stripping on the Allen wrench. So then the Allen wrench was literally like a circle at the bottom, but the other side of the Allen wrench worked. So I'm like, this whole time, I'm like, dang it. The screw was never stripped to begin with. It was the Allen wrench that was the problem. So I didn't even need to get a second pinion gear. So now I just have a spare pinion gear. Although ultimately this is still Traxxas' fault, I still would like to make an apology to Traxxas. You know, I got a little mad at their RC car unfairly because, to be fair, I've caused now the majority of these issues by putting on the gear wrong, Loctiting it like I'm not supposed to. Now, this all could have been prevented had I just Loctited the screw and put the screw on properly, or put the whole entire gear on properly to where the screw was up against the flat part. Now I have so much Loctite on the screw
that I can't, like, untighten it or anything. I don't want to have to drive back out to the hobby shop, because that's going to be, like, another 20, 30 minutes for me. And I really just don't feel like doing that right now. So I put some Loctite on it. I actually threw it on the proper way. And I'd like to apologize, Traxxas. This is all my fault. So, you know, the reason why this was dragged out into like a whole entire like 2-3 day affair is kind of my fault, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Like, had I just done it properly yesterday, this whole entire video would have been filmed and done already. So I'll apologize on that behalf. But still, the pinion gear falling off in the first place is unacceptable. That shouldn't be a thing. It's just absolutely unacceptable. But again, these RCs, they can't be perfect. I mean, they can't be absolutely perfect. So right now it's 338. I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm really going to give it. I might give it to like 440, maybe give it a shot. I don't know. So maybe like give it an hour. I don't know. It's already pretty tight on there, but once that Loctite just tightens up just a little bit, maybe I'll be able to drive it tonight. I don't know. It just feels good to be able to solve the problem. I'm like 100% sure that's the problem. Oh my God. I just want to drain these lipos out. I just want to rip. I just want to have fun, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I just want to have fun. But yeah, so I can't really be too mad at Traxxas because a lot of this is my fault. I'd say I'd honestly give myself like 40% of the fault, because the rest would be Traxxas, because I would have never been doing this if it would never fell off in the first place. So technically you could say a lot of it is Traxxas' fault, but had I not been an idiot, I would have been able to put it on properly. This goes to show I'm a true Arma boy right here. But anyhow, guys, so I guess this will probably be its whole separate video, because this was oh my God, it was just a huge affair doing this, introducing this RC car. I hate to introduce this RC car on this note. It's a little depressing that I introduced it on that note. But yeah, guys, so stay tuned for the next video when I actually end up ripping it. God, I'm actually like deep down, like, I'm happy but irritated. I'm happy that I figured it out, and hey, potentially I'll be able to ride it here, drive it here soon. And yeah, so hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I apologize, Traxxas. I apologize to the X-Max. Overall, though, I have to say the X-Max like looks really nice. I mean, and the times that I have ripped it, I said to Max, it's got a lot of torque, and I feel like when the one night I did rip it, I was surprised about how it took bends. And I think it was because that widening kit really helped it stabilize around bends and stuff. And like, it just doesn't feel right that an RC car like that, a monster truck with that type of ground clearance, should be able to cut bends at full throttle. It doesn't feel right, but the thing's able to do that. So I do have positives. It's not all just like complain negative. It's just that pinion gear, that's a big issue, Traxxas. You got to figure that out. Alright guys, finally on the last day, has a ticking time bomb, finally got it working, threw another pinion gear in it, and apparently that pinion gear, the screw end is like super tight, so I'm trying to tighten down on it with an Allen wrench, and it was so flippin' tight. Me and my stepdad are just cranking down on it. Finally I realized, okay, it fits in, alright. Well, apparently that oh, it's inactive unit, my bad. There we go. Anyhow, but apparently, my fault was with this, right? So that other one that I said was too tight because of the Loctite. So I said that one was too tight because, oh, I couldn't get it off because I threw too much Loctite on that screw. Well, apparently the Allen wrench I was using, the end of it was starting to get like stripped off. So it was kind of losing its Allen wrench shape. So it wasn't fitting into the screw properly, and it was just spinning, like it was stripping it. So that's why I thought it was too tight. So it was actually the Allen wrench's fault. That's fine. I now have 2 backup RC cars. I ripped it a little bit. And I think it works. So I think I'm desperate. Got my other lipos with me. Like I said, they're an explosive hazard at this point. But anyways, guys, hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Okay, I don't know why I just panned out like so slowly to the RC car. That was kind of odd. Yeah, anyways, yep, you guys can laugh at me, comment, Neil, you're a freaking idiot. Yeah, so anyways, goodbye, buy merch, subscribe to my second channel, subscribe to my TikTok, Instagram, just
Every link down below, just click it and just do whatever the link. Goodbye.